streaming back into South Africa. That's through the bustling Beitbridge border post in Musina and Limpopo. Since the start of the new year, nearly 10,000 people have crossed the border between Zimbabwe and South Africa. Newzroom Afrika's Veronica Makhoali on the ground now. Veronica, let's just talk about the situation as it stands there. The busiest border crossing for South Africa. What's the situation like this morning?
Well, Arabil, I can tell you that the Beitbridge border is speaking to that. Its name, known as the busiest border. As we stand right now, we can see that influx of travelers has already started to show. Buses on buses, streams of them coming in. And of course, you'd know that this means that the BMA does have its hands full in processing some of those that have started to arrive. This is part of those sections that have been put together, those several processing stations that have been put together in terms of the points to make security tighten, to manage those that are coming into the country. This is, of course, those large numbers that started to pick up, in fact, from just around Friday evening, and we are certainly expecting it to swell from this weekend. Authorities say they have stepped up their game this year, adding, of course, additional personnel on duty, and they've also added some of those clear demarcations that have been placed to streamline these processes. But many, of course, Arabila, are hoping that this influx will continue and perhaps even overwhelm officials so that they can cross without documentation undetected. It's really not clear yet just how many of people have been processed since then, but you can just see from just the sheer volume that it is definitely a staggering amount. Mothers, children, the elderly, each of them coming here, hoping, of course, to cross into the border for various reasons. And I'm joined now by the BMA Commissioner, Dr. Michael. It's been a busy weekend. You and I have been talking back and forth. We spent from Thursday really talking about the operations that are taking place, all in preparation for the numbers that we're seeing today.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Veronica. Yes, indeed. We expected that today being Saturday, the numbers will start escalating very much seriously and very much exponentially. And I think you can see, yesterday we started seeing the signals. We did around 19,000 people. And out of the 19,000 people, 15,000 were coming into the country, and around around 4 or so were actually exiting. So on that basis, you can see, since this morning, the colleagues indicated from 3 o'clock, we started seeing the escalation of the buses coming through. And as you can see, these ones are still on the queue this side, but we have others that side. As we speak now, all their bags are taken out of the buses. They're actually being scanned to make sure that everything they're bringing in the country is according to the law, in a way. So at the end of the day, but we are very much ready. We are very much ready. It is going to be very hectic. You will see this side, there are no small vehicles because they went to Manyika bypass. We'll also go down that side so that you can see how we are processing the small vehicles. This side is pedestrians as well as the buses, and then the trucks, we process them on the other side.
Yeah. And it's obviously very clear that there has been a deliberate effort to zone out these different areas, to stop those, traffic jams that we often see and people waiting in queues. We did speak to some of the travelers, many of them saying that they have been here, others from about 2 a.m., 4 a.m. They're complaining about the delays, but just walk us through how the processing works and why some of these travelers are, not understanding exactly why it's not simply a passport stamp and you're out.
Yeah, remember what we basically do, once you deploy a biometric movement control system, it is a bit different than when you deploy just an ordinary system where you just stamp passports, just move people in. So now you will remember that we are trying to balance the movement of people, but also at the same time balancing it with national security imperatives, meaning that all of these people here, they have to be screened. We have to take their fingerprint and make sure that we don't allow fugitives into the country. So because of that, traditionally there will be a bit of a slow process, but I think what is important is there's not going to be chaos. Everybody is going to be processed accordingly with the view that everybody who enters the country is indeed a legitimate person. Similarly, the introduction of the scanner where we scan all the bags, again, we are trying to deal with these issues of people bringing things into the country that are not actually acceptable, as it were. Otherwise, if we just let everybody go in literally as if they're just walking in, we will look like we are doing better facilitation, but from a security point of view, we will be very much irresponsible. Otherwise, we are definitely going to process everybody. We work on a 24-hour basis. Because now we are here, all of the other people had been recalled. We are going to process all of them.
And very quickly, Commissioner, you've given us the stats of over 15,000 processed arrests. Do we know any now?
Yes, indeed. I mean, throughout yesterday, remember the day before yesterday, we spoke about 101. Yesterday, the numbers went a bit down to 75. And now, what does that mean? What it means is people are starting to be aware that we also have deployed drones. So on that basis, we now see a reduction of people trying to attempt to enter the country illegally. That is what we need. Remember, the purpose is not to keep on chasing people, keeping on arresting people. The purpose is to deter people from coming into the country illegally. So the numbers is starting to show us that people are aware we now have drones. So on that particular basis, they're starting to avoid attempting to enter the country, particularly through the vulnerable segments. So from where we are sitting, we are fairly doing well. We'll see how today unfolds and tomorrow, and then we'll take it from there.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Commissioner. There, Dr. Michael Masiapato speaking about what is actually a noticeable success. Yesterday, having 101 people arrested, numbers going down to about 75 in the past 24 hours. That is essentially what is needed, not necessarily a high number of arrests, but seeing that the implementations and the operations that have been put in place are indeed deterring those trying to take a chance to enter into South Africa's borders illegally. Back to you, Arabile.